moving out of this satanic system without additional influence and help. We were so far gone and fallen into that state that there needs to be that little push to get us back into where we need to be. So I have no doubt that they are firmly in control and they will be moving and operating as they need to. But I also don't think that it's going to happen until it's all ready to happen all at once, because they don't want to scare the rest of these minions into these Kabbalic minions into realizing that they've lost. They need them to still be arrogant enough to think that they can still have a chance to win, because then at that point, when the trap has been set, then you can clamp down and really arrest all of these people, which is what we'll see during the EBS time period and that time period as
Well, good afternoon, folks. It's exactly 4:17 p.m. here in Costa Rica. We have Justin Carpenter, who works with -48, and I'm sure he's got a lot that he wants to talk about. But before we get going, folks, please hit the pause button, go down below. There's a link there. It's called rumble.com. It's our channel on Rumble. We need to populate that as quickly as possible. I have no idea how long we'll be lasting here with the atmosphere that we're in right now. QFS1776.com. Okay, QFS 1776 happens to be the holy grail of what's to come with the quantum financial system, Gesara, Nesara. Okay, you need to get yourself positioned, because we're going to burn the old system down to the ground, and out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. Don't forget, you got to get yourself some t-shirts. Okay, people want to know, what is QFS, what is XRP, what is Gesara, Nesara, and then you send them to the QFS1776.com and get them educated, because it's not like they can opt out of the system. The system that's coming is the system that's going to be here. You don't have a choice to go back to the old system. It's not going to be here. Gold and silver right down below. We got the best prices. We are direct to the mint. Don't even bother looking for better prices or better service. It doesn't get any better than this. Almost $8 billion in sales in 33 years. Unified TV. If you want to change the course of where we're going, you got to change the course of your money and give it to somebody else. That's how you kill the monster. Okay, don't keep giving your money to Netflix and expect the monster to go away. And then you call me in the morning and say, Mel, monster's still here. Yeah, stop paying the monster. Okay, if you want to buy $10,000 worth of XRP or $10 million worth of XRP, you come see me, because I'm the guy that's connected with all the main brokers that can make that happen for you. QFS1776@gmail to put in the subject line, I need a lot of XRP, and I will be more than happy to give you a buzz. Justin, welcome to the call, brother. Welcome to the show. I mean, I know there's a lot of moving parts out there. There's a lot of people saying the RV's getting ready to happen. They're getting ready to announce Nesara, Gesara. I know there's a major debacle going down south of the border over there in Brazil with the election. Same thing that happened to us. And it looks like the other guy is now won, which is crazy. But I think there's going to be some massive protests. And look at the size of the crowd will tell you who actually won that election. That's going to come, because the Brazilian people are not docile. They're not going to roll over, play dead, and go away. This will be a very interesting show going forward. Justin, welcome, brother. Tell me what's front and center, man.
Well, what's front and center? It's just this continued stoking the fire, the fanning the flames of this heat by the good guys, by the white hats, to stimulate all of us into these positions where we're finally done with giving our power away, finally done with giving away what we hold near and dear, which is connection with ourselves and connection ultimately with God. And when we can recalibrate that and bring it back in, then we stop playing these little games that these satanic entities have created for us, and we don't do it anymore. But unfortunately, people are very stubborn, and so the flames have had to be fanned pretty high in order to stimulate that kind of response. But we're seeing it happen over and over and over again, where people are standing up and they're saying, enough. I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not playing in your satanic system. I'm not going to do it. And that's the kind of motivation that we need to carry forward, so that we can create this new earth in the way that it should be, which is righteously created with righteous rule, which is about righteous ownership of the self. It's not about relying on anybody else to tell me what to do or to establish any laws or anything like that. God wrote very clear laws, and he didn't write them. They're just there. and we know them.
Absolutely.
There's right and there's wrong. And
Yeah.
if those are violated, those are the only things that need to be enforced. And anything outside of that is completely up to us, to live and to move freely. And if we don't like how somebody decides they want to live, then we move away from them. It's really that simple, and that's how it should be. So I'm starting to see that more and more. I'm starting to see that response. People starting to take ownership of this. This is the age of accountability, age of responsibility that we're moving back into, so that we're not giving away our power so readily like we have been conditioned and trained to thus far. So that's front and center. It has been, and it's continuing to accelerate all the way up to that final tipping point where the overall trajectory of mankind is flipped from this evil direction where we've been conditioned into, and back towards where we exist naturally, which is to be harmonious, to be existing in collaboration and collective cooperation, but as sovereigns, as individuals, organizing as such, with no central organization needing to mandate or ensure that happens.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people moving into becoming state nationals, and I think I've ignited the fire back about a year ago, not almost a year ago, with David Straight, with that video in like 3 weeks, got like 190,000 hits, and a lot of people started to show up at his seminars, and people are getting off the grid, etc. And I think it's a good thing because it's going to ultimately expedite Gesara and Nesara. What are your thoughts on this? There's a video circulating this morning. I got 17 people that actually sent me the video. Military, supposedly all over Washington D.C. Did you see this? There's like 8,000 troops out there right
And
now.
I haven't seen the video. I've heard people talking. I'm always pretty, I'm always hesitant to see if anything's reality unless I see it myself, because I know there's so much disinformation out there. There's disinformation put out by the bad guys, and there's disinformation put out there by the good guys. So it's hard to say what is what. But if it's helping to stimulate that same response of what I referred to, then that's great. And ultimately, we know that the military is in charge. It had to be this way, as Q always said, it had to be this way. We can't be moving out of this satanic system without additional influence and help. We were so far gone and fallen into that state that there needs to be that little push to get us back into where we need to be. So I have no doubt that they are firmly in control, and they will be moving and operating as they need to. But I also don't think that it's going to happen until it's all ready to happen all at once, because they don't want to scare the rest of these minions into these Kabbalic minions into realizing that they've lost. They need them to still be arrogant enough to think that they can still have a chance to win, because then at that point, when the trap has been set, then you can clamp down and really arrest all of these people, which is what we'll see during the EBS time period and that time period as we go forward.
What do you think about this election that's about to take place, or do you think it's even going to take place? Where are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the stage has been set, and they're falling right into the trap once again. And with the markers of 11.3 and 11.4, which is I'm drawing a blank on the name of the law of war manual. Yeah, so these are parameters that have been set, and when this election is pushed forward by these fraudulent people in politics, then that signals to the military that it is time to step forward. It is time to move into this next state of action. So by design, ultimately, but the good guys, the white hats, have backed themselves into a corner to make sure that this time period is the time that's activating. So I personally don't think that the election's going to go through at all. I think that's going to be stopped. I think there's going to be action that's taken, because there's too much evidence of fraudulent control of foreign entities, and there's too much room for them to not operate in that sort of space. So I think fireworks are about to happen.
Yeah. What kind of markers? I mean, obviously, I think the final marker is the military. When you start seeing military, not just in Washington D.C., but in New York, in California, in Miami, all over the world, obviously at that point it has moved into the final crescendo of the final mop up operation, I think. What are some of the markers that we should see before the military, you think, that we should really look out for?
Well, I think that there needs to be still some, it's still part of this movie, and people are still paying attention to it in some degrees or another. I know Trump has, I think, four 4 rallies scheduled back to back over this next weekend, starting on Thursday, and moving into until Tuesday, until the election day. So those events are a huge possibility for something to happen. A lot of people have speculated that Trump might get arrested as part of this show, as part of this movie that has to play out. That's nothing to fear if that does happen, but it does stimulate that sort of response of how did people respond to someone who did everything for us, did everything for our highest good? How did you respond in that moment when he was arrested? This is a biblical example of how people responded to when Jesus was crucified. How did you
Right.
respond in that moment if he gets arrested in that space? The parallels are part of it. Not saying that he is Jesus Christ, but this is a biblical example. This is a part of this experience to get us to come back and realize just how far we'd fallen into the lie. So that could be a huge marker of things really accelerating and taking to that next level. Along with just whatever sort of smaller events that happen, based on people getting pissed off with what's going on around them. So it's hard to say, that the stage is set, the potential energy is building. Everyone can feel it, everyone can see it. It's not hard to see. So it could be anything at this point. We've got World War III looming on the horizon as well. That could be a huge thing that as a part of this show, that we're that stimulated to drive people into some sort of response. So we might see some more development there. And it will likely all happen at once. This will be just kind of a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, kind of
Yeah.
aspect where we see all these things go down at the same time, just to really get people to pay attention, because people are so far into that stupor, they don't pay attention to anything. So what's it going to take to stimulate that kind of response where people are pull their heads out of their ass and actually start paying attention?
Yeah, I don't think nuclear war. I mean, nuclear war may be something to bring everybody down to their knees and to get into their God moment, but I don't think nuclear war is going to be actually played out.
No, not actually, but it might look like it. I mean, it
Just to
might
scare
scare
the
the shit out of
heebie-jeebies
us.
out of everybody, keep everybody
Yes,
stressed out. I don't have a
yes.
problem. My hair fell out a long time ago, so I don't get stressed out anymore. Anyway, how does this Ripple lawsuit play into the whole thing? You following that at all?
I haven't really followed it too closely. I mean, I think it's all part of that same conversation starter to get people to question, like, oh, why can somebody who's got an organization that is founded so securely within the way that they've established things and should work very well, how can they be taken down by such corruption? So it's just helping to drive that conversation going, so people can see this is exactly what these tentacles were capable of. This is exactly how the cabal's infrastructure worked to ensure that there was never anybody that ever escaped from it. So it's just the same as kind of like Elon Musk taking Twitter and that kind of stuff. These are just points to drive people into conversations so that they can examine what's happening around them and examine that every aspect had the capability to be clamped down and controlled by these same mechanisms that were designed to keep us enslaved. So it's doing a good job at that because people are talking.
Yeah. Do you think the Trump arrest might happen while he's having one of his rallies where they arrest him on stage?
That would certainly be a dramatic way to do it. I don't know. I mean that they don't want to piss people off too much to where they're willing to do anything drastic in response. That might be something where people would respond violently if that did happen. So, but it would also have everybody pay attention to as well. It would
Well,
be
it
a
would
very
be nice
strong
to see
reaction.
it would be nice to see the FBI get their freaking brains stomped out on stage. That would be a priceless moment. Let's put it that way. So what's going on with Negative 48? I mean, I know you work with him, etc. What's going on in his camp?
Well, I actually left the Negative 48 crew a couple months ago, and headed back down to Mexico. So I'm down back in Mexico where I was prior to meeting up with them. So I'm back down with Charlie Freak and Colleen and Eugene and a couple others down here. And so I
Mhm.
haven't kept up with them too much. I mean, we left on good terms. It was just kind of a difference of path, and I go where God leads always. And there was an opportunity, it seemed very evident to leave in that moment. And so I did. I know they've been in Dallas, kind of reconvening in that space. But I'm not 100% sure about what all they're up to right now.
Right. Charlie Freak, isn't he the guy who created the documentary, the Bonfire Guy series? There's one that's like 48 minutes long. There's another one that's like an hour and 43 minutes long. And then there's like a bunch of 20, 25 minute. He's the guy, but Bonfire Guy for some reason keeps getting the credit, right? Is that correct?
Well, Bonfire Guy did a lot of the video animations and put the videos together in a condensed way. But yeah, Charlie is the one who did the interview and is the voice behind those videos. So the initial video was just him and a guy, Mark Devlin, who did an interview series. They called it the Takedown of the Cabal from A to Z, and that was an incredible series. And then the Bonfire Guy took it and you know it with working with Charlie, you know, there was collaboration within that, and he found these very poignant clips and kind of condensed it down to an easier bite-sized version. So both of those videos are phenomenal. You know, the longer one kind of goes into more detail. I tend to prefer the longer one myself, but the Bonfire Guy one is fantastic as well because it actually uses video clips instead of just slideshows. So it's a lot more visually appealing, engages you a lot more, and it's easier to kind of broach to somebody that so that if they don't have time to watch a longer video. But they're all phenomenal, and it really does just show this very clear, in case anyone has any doubts, if Trump was in charge, you know, it shows him going around the world and getting all of these world leaders to capitulate to him. So
Oh,
he
there's
went
no
to
question.
he went to the yeah, he went to the Vatican. He went to and everybody remembers that photo where he's standing next to the Pope, and the Pope looks like he, you know, he's like pissed off and not happy to be there. Apparently, he told the
Yeah.
Pope to wear his red shoes, you know, and we all
Mhm.
know what those red shoes are made from. And he went to Japan, and he's the only non-emperor who handed the trophy to the sumo wrestling champion, which is unprecedented within that country. He went to Saudi Arabia for the sword holding ceremony, which again has never been done by anybody who's not a king within Saudi Arabia. He went to the UK and walked in front of the Queen, if everybody remembers that, where he's just walking right in front of her, completely embarrassing her, basically telling you, "Bitch, I own you." You know, like
Yeah, yeah. We
this is
we
just
we we run the
this
show now. Absolutely.
yeah. And so all of these signs are just very clear to see that we were very much in charge at that point, and every step of the way was just him telling them, "Hey, we own you. You better play ball or you're done. We have it all. You know, there's
Yeah.
no getting out of this space." So it's a powerful video to watch for sure.
Yeah. How close are you with Charlie Freak and the Bonfire Guy?
Well, I don't know the Bonfire Guy. I've never met him, but Charlie's lives 5 minutes away from where I'm at now, so I go over there, you know, periodically. I mean, they're like family. I spend a lot of time with them. They're beautiful, beautiful souls. Him and Colleen, they have their animal sanctuary, so I go help out there quite a bit, and yeah, it's a very lovely space. They're wonderful people, and they truly do live and embody this good and godly work of acknowledging that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We don't need to look anywhere else. Everything that we need to do is within. So
Mhm.
that's the established point of moving away from a world of sin and back to our divinity, moving back into acknowledgement of our Christ itself and acknowledgement that this process happens within. This is the only reason the cabal has been able to take over is because they convinced us that we were not this. And so this coming back into this realization that we're children of God and we're here at as the pinnacle of God's creation, here to perform a very specific task and rise. You know, this is for us to realize who we truly are. When we realize that, then their game is over. They can't make slaves out of us anymore. And so that's the whole point of this awakening, is for us to remember who we
Yeah.
truly are so that we don't become slaves any longer.
Well, if everybody would stand up first thing in the morning and said, "That's it, no more. We're not paying our mortgages. We're not paying our car loans. We're not paying our student loans. We're not paying the IRS. We're not paying anybody." This all goes away very quickly. But you and I know that. But I don't understand what it's taken so long for the rest of the world to physically catch up. Charlie Freak, what are the chances of you connecting him with Amber so that we can get him on the show?
I can certainly ask. He's a very busy guy just with dealing with the animals. So they do a couple shows himself, but I will absolutely ask him and see if he'd be interested in doing something like that.
Or if he's got a camera crew and he wants to go live on while he's on his private farm with animals, I would welcome that. I would love to do it that way as well. So
Thanks,
I'm
brother.
totally open to it.
Awesome. Yeah, no camera crew. It's just him and Colleen. I help out with the technical stuff sometimes, but it's just them doing their best as two
Gotcha.
kids from Canada trying to figure things out.
What part of Mexico are you in?
We're in Morelos, which is just south of Mexico City,
Okay.
in a small town called Miacatlan.
Okay. I've been to Mexico City a couple of times. But yeah, it's a nice country. Mexico's a nice country. I have friends that live in Puerto Vallarta. I have some friends
Oh yeah,
in Cabo. Uh,
nice.
they're all asking, "Hey, you should come down and visit, man. This is a lot nicer than Costa Rica." I'm sure it is. I mean, look, Costa Rica's got every country has got its problems, Costa Rica included, right? Especially politically speaking. We got our own, everybody had to get that medical procedure against their own will here, basically,
Mm,
to hold down a job that pays you, $200 a month, which is ridiculous.
right.
That's what the average salary here. The kid that goes to work at a fast food restaurant makes about $250 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the inflation's always been, well, Costa Rica has always been one of the most expensive Latin countries in the world. I think it's like the third most expensive. It's not easy. People say, "Well, I'm going to move to Costa Rica and save money." Yeah, come on down. Yeah, you ain't going to
Well,
save too much money, believe me.
yeah, they had to attack these countries the hardest because this is where the areas where you can grow food the easiest. So
Oh
these are
yeah,
the
I got
areas where we
bananas.
can really
Yeah,
sustain the best.
I got
Yeah,
bananas
I mean,
growing in
it's
the
so easy to
backyard. I
grow
got
things.
mandarins. I got blue blackberries. I got all kinds of stuff growing. I got lemongrass. I got
Nice.
oregano. I got peppermint. I got all this stuff growing. I mean, I rented the house. It comes with all the fruit trees. I'm like, okay, cool. So
That's awesome.
we get the benefit of having some really nice organic banana smoothies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Nothing
So
better.
what brings you down there? I mean, did you basically you're from Canada? Am I correct?
No, I grew up in Tennessee, so I'm from the US.
Okay.
I got in touch with Charlie and Colleen last year. Well, I guess in 2020 was the first time I contacted them. I hopped on a few Q&As with them, and they really liked my vibe and my energy and what I did. So they invited me onto a bigger show and helped promote my YouTube channel, which was about 40 followers at the time. So they were
Yeah.
really the ones that catapulted me into having a crowd or having people that wanted to hear what I had to say. So
Totally.
we always had really good chemistry doing shows. 2021 was just full of us doing series and shows together. Their
Yeah.
channel got taken down at the beginning of 2021, and so they were able to use my channel to kind of get stuff out there. So it ended up working out pretty well, and then they invited me down to Mexico at towards summertime of 2021, and I spent 6 months down with them. And then I came back up to the US to renew my visa. And that's when I got connected with the Negative 48 crew and spent almost a whole year with that. And then now I'm back here in Mexico.
Interesting. Any plans on moving back once the storm blows over? I mean, how long do you think it's going to take for this thing to really blow over at this point? I mean, people are saying, that it's going to take another, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for a month. I think, look, realistically speaking, if we go into the first quarter of next year and this thing is completely over by the first quarter, second quarter of next year, I'd be happy because this thing could go into some extra innings still. People think that it's just going to vanish just like that. I don't think it is. I think we're in for this is a dogfight. You know,
Yeah.
this is definitely a
Yeah.
dogfight.
Yeah. I mean, it's a war for our minds, and we have to start fighting that war. And so the first step is going to be whatever gets us to knock loose of our unwillingness to look at ourselves and to look at why we got into this mess, to where
Yeah,
no one can deny what's happening and what's going on. So that'll be part and due to the EBS, and then cleaning up the rest of these nasty scum and what they're doing. But
mhm.
then after that, there will be a period of kind of recalibration where we're going to have to come back to finding that space. It'll happen from region to region, probably in different rates as people balance out. Some regions might experience calamity for a longer period of time. Some periods might stabilize very quickly, and so it'll just be interesting to see how the world develops after that point. But
Right.
every to that step will have well, to have the military kind of as there to support, make sure that it's too far and there's no rioting from Antifa and all the other groups that are they're to cause as much damage as they can as these minions go out. So that's Q drop or excuse me, 17 drop 34. It talks about this post, my fellow Americans, and it describes the situation very clearly. So that's always a good one to review because it describes this time that we're right around the corner from experiencing it, so that we can prepare ourselves for it. Because those of us who have been preparing are going to be the sort of beacons of hope for those who have not, so that we can spread that calm assurance that everything's been okay, everything's going to be okay. Like, we've been preparing for this for years now, so it's going to be good. Everything's going to be all right. So that people don't freak out too much. But inevitably, some people will freak out. There's going to be some calamity or another, and it has to be that way, because we can't keep living in this facade of a system. We have to come back to the truth.
Yeah. Your camera froze there for a little bit, but you're back. You're unfrozen now. Dinars, Zims, Boulevard, the reevaluation, this wealth transfer that's about to hit us like a locomotive train. I know it seems again that we're close, but there's people out there claiming that, they're getting ready to call us. Bank of America is going to call you and you have to do X, Y, and Z. And you have to jump through these 9 loopholes, all that kind of crap. You know anything about that at all?
I don't. I don't. I don't think anything's going to be complex or complicated about moving where we need to go. I mean, the whole point that the cabal was all about complexity. They were always about, all these different roundabout ways of having us do and operate, so that we never knew which way was up or down. So every step we move, it's going to be away from complexity and back to simplicity, which is just acid back to everything. I mean, that makes sense. We got to get back to real. We got to get away from fake. We got to get away from complexity and back to real and simplicity.
Do you think you think there'll be a few people that get away with this? I mean, like there's quite a few people that enforce this liberal sick agenda, if you will. And you think that in this new world order, these people that are even low level, police officers, nurses, doctors, what have you, that have pushed this agenda on us, do you think they get away with it, or do you think
No.
at some point everybody goes away?
No one escapes this. This was made very clear. So whatever doesn't get swept up with the initial sweep of the military, then the people are going to address it, because we're going to be looking for everyone who the satanic system is going to be very clear. It's going to be very obvious of who was pushing it, who was doing it,
Oh, we
who
got
made
their names.
decisions
We
that
know where they
supported it,
live. We know
and
what kind of car they drive. We know everything about you. There's nowhere to hide, and there's no negotiations. You cannot sit down and say, "Yeah, I'm going to give up Justin. Give me 5 years off my sentence." First of all, if the American people are going to get their way, and they will, believe me when I tell you, they will undoubtedly going to get their pound of flesh. You're going away, as in like you're going to be facing crimes for treason to humanity. These are punishable by death. And if that's what the sentence that gets handed down to you, well, then you're going to go meet your maker. That's just the way it's going to roll.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it has to be that way. So everyone will be held accountable for whatever they did. So some people might get sued, some people might get fired, some people might get arrested and go to prison, and some people might get executed. Whichever category you fit into, that's going to be the one that you face. But no one escapes this. So whatever you did, you're going to be held accountable for.
Well,
And
you heard it.
ignorance is not an
I'm on the
excuse.
same page as he is. So, brother, it's a pleasure. I'm glad that you came back. It's been a while since we did the last one. And we're going to say goodbye to the audience, guys. If you listen this far, this was great. Get it out there, spread it far and wide. Don't forget to get your gold and silver right down below. Don't forget, if you need some XRP, a large amount of XRP, anything over $10,000 or $1 million worth, you come see me. Send us an email to QFS1776@gmail.com. Say, I need to buy large sums of XRP, and we'll take care of that for you. Thank you, guys. Let me hold you over, brother.